So welcome back, Elaine, to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go live session. So let's jump into today's teaching, the email, it's a quote, and then we'll lead us into the lesson. And there's some text to do as well. I'll try and wrap it up by 9:30. That's okay. So let's share my screen with you. Okay, so you can read that quote.
God is love, and as pure love, he is always inclusive, and I believe that we should be too.
Yeah, a lady called Mary Vasquez, who's an American poet, author, social entrepreneur, overcame post-traumatic stress disorder. So people have their hero's journeys, don't you? I included the stories. It's the story because I thought it was significant. She was raped, and then part of her healing journey was to write those books. Obviously, published 2 books designed to help other people overcome PTSD, which is quite common in today's world. At least has been recognized as a problem. I think in years gone by, with wars and stuff, these soldiers would be in PTSD and no one had any idea what they were going through. So she just reminds us here about the simple truth that God is pure formless awareness of perfect love, pure love. And this is always inclusive. Perfect love must include everyone and everything. Otherwise, it wouldn't be perfect love. There's no such thing as God loving someone and not another. That's the ego's invention. So any view of God as partial, or he's our God, a la Old Testament style, religion. This is our God, and he's a jealous God. He wants our people only, and everyone else, he's against. I mean, that's just a ridiculous conception of God. God is universal. Well, what does this really mean? You might ask yourself. Well, how can I love the often grotesque, the weak, hostile, and always impermanent forms of life, and frequently insane behavior in this world? And the answer is that you can't love these grotesque and temporary forms of life because they aren't real. They were not created by God. Stated in alternative language, pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is by definition formless and without impurity of any kind. So you can never really love another person or form of life, which is why special love doesn't work. It's not really love. It's just another form of separation, which is actually hatred. Because the idea that they are other than you, by definition, separates you from them. And there is no love in separation. Only guilt, hatred, fear, and anger, and all the other thoughts and emotions that deny or negate perfect love. So this is why Yeshua tells us, special love's not going to work. Because it seems to be love. There's an attachment there. Oh, I love you. Most people say, I love you. I love spending time with you. I love the way you make me feel. Whatever. But there's an attachment to that person, and you perceive that person as an individual person, typically in a special relationship. But then by definition, it's not unconditional love because you're seeing them as separate from you. as another person, which then denies the unconditional love or perfect oneness that is the truth. Does that make sense? It's
It does.
kind of, it's why love is so elusive in this world, because mostly what we call love is just special love. And special love makes you and the other person separate. And how can you truly love, unconditionally love, if you perceive yourself as separate from that person? You can't. It's not love then. And this is, one of the key teachings of the course. That's why I spend so much time teaching us about special love versus divine love. The love of God, as he calls it. Because the one is partial and special and makes you separate from others. The other one says, no, there is no separation. There are no distinctions. There are no differences. You are exactly the same as not just, the special people in your life, those your family and friends that you know, but you're exactly the same as everyone, because that fundamental awareness that you have is also their fundamental awareness. And in fact, the fundamental awareness of every life form has that same awareness, just not conscious of it necessarily. So you can never really, love anyone else as long as you define them as other than you. So therefore, to love anything or anyone in this world, truly or unconditionally, is to overlook its temporary form completely and recognize only its true nature. Or we call that essence or pure formless awareness, which is exactly the same as your own awareness. Right? There's no difference between pure formless awareness and your own awareness. This is well expressed, wonderfully expressed in the Sanskrit greeting, namaste, which literally means I bow to you. Spiritual circles have come to mean the divine in me honors the divine in you. Interpretation comes from the Hindu belief that God resides in everyone. So every person you greet deserves respect. When you say namaste, that's an acknowledgement of the true nature, essence, or as we call it, pure formless awareness in another. It means that you must recognize it in yourself as well. As you say that, namaste, the divine in me honors the divine in you. I have to recognize it in myself and then simultaneously recognize it in you. And that's the basis of unconditional love. That's why giving unconditional love is the same as receiving it. Why, when you love others truly, you're really loving yourself and your source. Because it's just the same love. It's one love, one loving awareness that remains at the foundation of your mind and your experience. When you depart from that, then that's illusion and it will hurt you. If you stay true to that, then the happy dream is yours and eventual enlightenment to the state, the realm beyond this world. And then that leads us nicely into today's mind training lesson from the workbook, which is lesson 246. So let's jump into that. And so if you can read
To love my Father.
The original.
Yeah. To love my Father is to love his Son.
And the alternative.
To love my source is to love its extension. So love everybody. Every form.
To love my force, my source is to love its extension. So you can't love one without the other. And I think I mentioned this before. I was staying with a lady earlier this year, and she was sort of formal religious Christian, but very, so-called religious. And her take on it was, well, I love God, but I don't love you because you're not of God. And like, well, you're not listening to your own scriptures, because Yeshua was very clear. He said there are 2 commandments that you have to follow. There's 2, great rules. The first is love the Lord your God, as he put it, with all your heart, mind, and soul. So translated into our terms, that would be, be rooted in your true awareness, in pure formless awareness of perfect love, and give your whole awareness to that. So that's number 1. But then the second one, the corollary, is love your neighbor as yourself, which is the foundation of the golden rule. Because if you don't do that, and you have other thoughts and emotions coming in, fear, anger, hatred, whatever the egos cooks up, then that sabotages the love of God, and it sabotages that loving awareness. And so if you don't do that, then you're going to be very prone to the ego hijacking your mind. It's very easy to say, well, I love God, and it's all kind of quite abstract and theoretical. But can I love its extensions in this world in an unconditionally loving way that means I don't disconnect from my source? It means I'm not out of loving awareness. And that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? That's way more challenging. It's very easy to piously say, as she was, well, I love God, but I don't love you.
Some kind.
It's delusional to start with, but I mean, on that foundation, that is the essence of all evil. This is why so much evil has been done in in religious contexts. Oh, well, we have God, it's our God, but it's not your God. You're not of God. You're a heathen or an unbeliever or an infidel. They'll have their names for it. Therefore, I can treat you however I want, because you're not of God. And so therefore it's justified that I mistreat you, oppress you, abuse you, kill you, because you're not of God and I'm of God. And so you're some kind of lower life form or something. But it doesn't make any sense, because you're like, well, how can that possibly be? If God is life itself, clearly that that other person has some life, don't they? They have awareness. They're not non-existent, so they must have it. This is the fact that they exist means that they must have this fundamental source of existence in them, which means that they're actually at the very core level the same as you, irrespective of what their appearances looks like, or their body and their personal identity and any of their beliefs. None of that matters. They have fundamentally this awareness we call life. Cannot be taken away. It's so completely obvious. You think, how can people miss it? Like this woman was like, how can you go to church every week and say your prayers and do whatever, and then behave like this? But it's hypocrisy. People don't really want to look in the mirror and see what's going on, because it would be uncomfortable. She was, well, I'll just continue in my belief, because if I really look at the way I'm behaving, I would have to see that it's out of alignment with the very scriptures that I study and I profess to believe in. Christian, okay, well, is this the way that Jesus behaved? Is his fellow man? No. He behaved in an unconditionally loving way, without exception. His message was, don't make exceptions. And then, of course, you'd have to change. You'd have to change your own mind and your own ways, which is much harder work than just saying, well, I'm saved because Jesus has died for my sins. So those, you see how those beliefs go together. You're like, well, okay, because he's died for my sins, I'm kind of scot-free. I can behave however I want, and I'm saved anyway. Which obviously is a misinterpretation. And even, I think a formal Christian, pastor or minister would probably say, yeah, you're supposed to live it. I mean, like, duh. But yeah, the ego will find a way not to. So she's very, pious, going off to church and doing her church groups. And I'm like, but you're not living it. This is, like no way to treat someone. Just because I'm not part of your special group, your religion, your congregation, whatever, so that was just an example of, of the delusion that's very common in this world. Very common delusion. We think we can love God, but not love our fellow human beings. And Yeshua's saying very clearly, to love my source is to love its extension. I can't love one and not the other. And if I'm not loving, then it's of the ego. It negates love. Then I'm in another awareness, which is not my source's awareness. Then I'm in the falsity of the ego's miscreation. So very simple, but very, it's a very profound principle. In fact, the essence of any authentic spiritual teaching is one of these principles, is absolute foundations, is, do unto others if you have them do unto you. Love others as you would be loved. Do you want to be loved? And that then is the bedrock of the teaching. And can't really compromise on that, because as soon as you do, you're no longer connected to your source. You're disconnected from it, and you will suffer. Okay, so let's read the paragraph 1. Read that in the original. It's very short, so read original and then the alternative, line by line.
Let me not think. Or did you say in the original?
Yeah, and then the alternative, line by line.
Right. Let me not think that I can find the way to God if I have hatred in my heart. Let me not think that I can find the way to pure formless awareness of perfect love if I have hatred in my heart. Let me not try to hurt God's Son and think that I can know his Father or myself. Let me not try to hurt perfect love's extension and think that I can know its source or myself. Let me not fail to recognize myself and still believe that my awareness can contain my Father, or my mind conceive of all the love my Father has for me and all the love which I return to him. Let me not fail to recognize myself and still believe that my awareness can contain my source, or my mind conceive of all the love my source has for me and all the love which I return to it.
Okay, so what's he saying here?
Well, if we've got hatred in our heart, then there's just no way we're going to find our peace and source, the true self, and we're not able to give the gifts of the source of extending to our companions, then we're stuck. Yeah. obviously, whether you're a religious or whatever, wherever group you come from, we're all one source, and we extend.
Yeah, well, that's the simple truth, and yet most religions don't acknowledge that. It's bizarre.
Mm.
So our God is somehow different from your God. The laws of chaos. Yes, and the laws of chaos. Remember that section. So one of the laws of chaos was that the truth is different for everyone. So my truth is not the same as your truth. Okay, well, my God is different from your God. It's just a law of separation and chaos. There must be one truth. It's self-evident. There's one source of life, one truth. And it doesn't matter what you call that. And all the mind-created stuff, the language, the names, whatever rituals you have that then define that particular religion, they're meaningless to that source, because that source is just pure formless awareness of perfect love. It hasn't departed into these meaningless distinctions that the ego is made up. See that? Okay, so yeah. What else is he saying in that? Anything else to struck you in that paragraph?
Well, it's quite simple. You extend the love to all your neighbors, not just a few. Otherwise, it's just a special. So, yeah, it's just, if you've got any hatred or negativity, then you've been ruled by the ego.
Exactly. Yeah, because you may go, well, I love God, but then in her mind, she's got all this. I'm talking about that lady. It's an example. She was a good example of this. Then she's got all kinds of negative thoughts and feelings towards me, which are populating her mind and her awareness. So then you're not in pure formless awareness of perfect love. You're in another awareness. The love of God is just this loving awareness, a state of loving awareness, which will be sabotaged if you're thinking thoughts of separation and fear and attack thoughts. You're not in loving awareness then. You're in the ego, a false awareness. Okay, so should we move on to number 2?
Is that the alternative or both? Or
Yeah, just read it. So they're very short. That's why I was
the alternative, yeah.
In the original and the alternative.
Oh, right. I will accept the way you choose for me to come to you, my Father. I will accept the way you choose for me to come to you, my source. For in that will I succeed, because it is your will. I succeed in this because it is your awareness that guarantees my success. And I would recognize that what you will is what I will as well, and only that. And I want to recognize that your awareness is the same as mine, and only this awareness is true. And so I choose to love God. And so I choose to love your Son. Amen. And so I choose to love myself and all your extensions. And so it is.
Yeah, this is what Amen means. So, yeah, and a short, simple prayer pointing us through the words to a state of unity, asking us to accept this profound truth that this awareness, it's so simple, really, isn't it? The more you study this, it's so simple. Why do we struggle so much with something that's so simple?
It's that
Only,
sort of
only because the ego is sabotaged and wants it to be very difficult and
it
complex.
plays all
Just
its
trying to
little
make it
tricks.
bad.
Yeah, it's constantly playing its little tricks throughout the day, trying to catch you. Yeah.
But there's this one awareness. It's a singular awareness. It's the same awareness for everyone and everything. Everyone has that one awareness. And so now you're just returning your mind to that awareness. What could be simpler? You remain in that awareness, rooted in this pure formless awareness forever. It's the essence of simplicity. It's absolutely so simple. And nothing else is required. Just acknowledging this one awareness, accepting this one awareness is your awareness. But that's a whole spiritual awakening, just to accept this awareness. The simplicity of it belies its seeming difficulty. Because you accept that awareness, then your personal self, this other awareness you've invented, has to disappear. You can't be in the awareness of pure formless awareness of perfect love and also be in this other awareness, the mutually exclusive states. Okay, yeah. So any thoughts or comments on that second paragraph, which is the prayer?
Well, we just have to choose which do we want, the separate self or the source. It is quite simple. And although we're going to get tested, you have to choose. Because your awareness, his own awareness, everybody's awareness is exactly the same. So we choose to love the true self and then extend it to all others.
And then I just become that awareness. I am that I am. I am that loving awareness, beyond which I cannot go. If I'm in that awareness, then there's no other state. I can't go higher than that or beyond that. When I'm fully in that awareness, a revelatory awareness, samadhi, nirvana, various names in the East, because they're much more familiar with these states of mind. When I'm in that awareness, that's it, the end of the journey. I'm home. I'm home, right here, right now, in that awareness. And so that's such a simple message, isn't it? I think why does it take us so much? Why is it so difficult and we have to study? We do this course day in, day out. Why do we have to do it? Because there's another awareness that seems to block the simplicity of this truth out, doesn't it?
It does.
Very persistent. No, there's definitely something else going on. There's another awareness, there's other thoughts, there's a whole other thought system, as the course calls it, coming from another awareness that's always seeking to try and perpetuate itself and propagate like a virus, just multiplying through people's minds. Exactly what a virus is, just insidiously, parasitic. And the only way to be healthy is to free the organism from that which is making it sick, from the virus. Similarly, we must free our minds from this thought virus that was invented, made up for you to have a separate experience. We must free ourselves from that. And that's what these lessons and all the mind training is about. Okay, so yeah, any thoughts on that?
No, it's very clear.
Okay. So do you want to do a meditation on it, and then we'll go into the text?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right. So just making yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, you're noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Full maximal inhale breath. Pause at the top of the inhale. So scan your mind. Noticing the thoughts, emotions, and related body sensations arising for you. Particularly anything that feels at all negative, negative of love. Limited, contracted, constricted in any way, shape, or form. Let's breathe into it. And just remind yourself of today's idea. So, to love my source is to love its extension. To love my source is to love its extension. So I love myself as its extension. And usually if you're upset about anyone, about anything, it's because someone else is involved. They've said or done something that you don't like, or haven't said or done something that you wanted them to do. So you just exhale, blow it all out. The breeze of your breath going, gone. Pull the stomach into the spine. Spell the last remaining air out. And you rest here in this deep peace and stillness. Getting into a nice pattern of breathing. So you breathe in through the nose. Notice the air flowing in, stomach, chest rising. Breathing in and out through the nose. And you observe the breath. Just observe the subtle sensations of the breath flowing in and flowing out. You follow that with your mind, put your attention on that. It tends to stop the mind when you do that. So if you've got thoughts running around, so just listen to these words, repeat them after me, say it as an affirmation, truth, it's lesson. So breathing in, pause at the top of the inhale, you hold the breath briefly as I speak the words, and then When I pause, you exhale out through your nose, and you speak them aloud as affirmations. Put one hand on your heart center, connect with your heart space to enhance the impact of this, if you like. So breathing in, pull the energy up into the spine, to the heart center. Put one hand there, pause. You listen to these words. So let me not think that I can find a way to feel formless awareness of perfect love. If I have hatred in my heart. So breathe into the heart. Bring this loving awareness in. And imagine a golden or white light flowing into your heart center. And let it go with the breath. As you speak the words, let me not think that I can find the way to God. I have hatred in my heart. Not think that I can find the way to pure formless awareness of perfect love if I have hatred in my heart. Breathing in again. Full deep inhale, put one hand in your heart center. Feel your heart expanding. Let me not try to hurt perfect love's extension and think that I can know its source for myself. I'm not trying to hurt perfect love's extension. Think that I can know its source for myself. And exhale. Repeat those words loud. Conviction. Cannot know your source or yourself. You are thinking any kind of attack thoughts. Breathing in again. Let me not fail to recognize myself, that's capital self. Still believe my awareness can contain my source. When I exhale, you repeat those words. Let me not fail to recognize myself and still believe that my awareness can contain my source. When my mind conceive of all the love my source has for me, and all the love I return to it. So exhale, repeat those words. I believe that my awareness can contain my source, or my mind conceive my mind conceive all the love my source has for me, and all the love I return to it. So breathing in again. I'll accept the way you choose for me to come to you, my source. I succeed in this because it is your awareness that guarantees my success. Repeat those words and feel deeply what they mean. It means that you're guaranteed guaranteed to return home. That's what it's saying. Guaranteeing your success. You cannot fail. Breathing in again. I want to recognize that your awareness is the same as mine, and only this awareness is true. Breathing again. And so I choose, breathing in again, to love myself, capital Self, and all your extensions. Breathe in this loving awareness to every pore and every cell of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. It's enveloped in this loving awareness. So God loves you because this awareness is you. It's your own true nature, your own fundamental awareness that can never leave you. So just claim it now, accept it, breathe in and just accept this loving awareness. And exhale, just repeat those words. So I choose right now. So anytime you can choose in the now to love myself, capital Self, and all your extensions. And so it is. When you rest in this deeply restful state of mind, sink into this awareness. Surrender to it, allow it to arise, allow it to envelop you, just surrender to it, no resistance. Don't try and name it or judge it or label it or interpret it, don't block it. You're in the love of God, you're in this loving awareness. You are this loving awareness right now. That's the mystical merging of the Father and the Son. And then just observe the breath and sink inwards, go deeper and deeper for a couple of minutes of deep silence, deeper into this loving awareness, experience the benefits of it for yourself. So nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, certainly nothing else to think about, just stay rooted in this loving awareness. Mind is calm and quiet, you're not thinking about illusions, just aware. You're aware of your own awareness. Aware of exactly what he's talking about. Of course, aware of the very essence of who you are. Any thoughts come in to seemingly disturb this awareness, which is common, especially when you start meditating. Just observe them, breathe in. Observe those thoughts. those emotions, related body sensations. And breathe in this loving awareness. And just let go of anything that seems to be disturbing to your peace, or reminding yourself that to love my source is to love its extension. So I must allow this loving awareness to flow from me to all my brothers and sisters. It's anyone who holding any kind of grudge or grievance towards them. I'm not loving my source. I'm not in this loving awareness. I'm in another awareness. Now just sink into this loving awareness for a couple of minutes of still, quiet, calm, peaceful awareness. Observe your breath as you do that. Observe the breath flowing into the nostrils and out of the nostrils. When the mind starts wandering, just bring it back to the breath. And then we'll help you turn your mind to the state of awareness. And so just certainly coming back. This deep state, this loving awareness. Maybe you weren't aware of your body and your breath for a while. I'll just bring some awareness back into those. So breathe in, you notice how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause. Smile. Scan your mind for any remaining negative thoughts, anything that disturbs your loving awareness. And remind yourself that to love my source is to love its extension. So I exhale. Just let it all go, blow it away. Whatever it was bothering you is just dark cloud or black smoke. It's going, gone, leaving you. Dissipating into the nothingness that it really is. And stay rooted in that awareness. So notice count to 2 now, the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. Notice what you're feeling. Your hands, maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Smell in your nose. Notice what you're hearing. Surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of mind without illusions. It's only the truth is present. And so just set the intention to stay there for the rest of the session, the rest of the evening, on into tomorrow. Remain rooted in this. Use today's lesson to bring you back. The mind wanders, you just remind yourself to love my source is to love its extension. It's all of its extensions. This is the foundation of the golden rule. Unto others as you have them to unto you. So you want love, then love others. And this puts you into the loving awareness that is your source's awareness. Merges you with the source of your own mind. And so now on the count of 3, just open your eyes. Take a moment just to look around. Observing thoughts and emotions. going on. Observe what's going on in the room around you. Noticing any object your eyes happen to rest on in this very peaceful awareness. No need to judge it, name it, label it, just observe it. It's a deeply peaceful awareness underlying it, and then you look on something else. Notice that awareness is still there. Close your eyes. Notice the awareness. Deeply peaceful awareness is there when your eyes are closed, but the same awareness is there when your eyes are open. Do that for half a dozen objects, closing your eyes and opening your eyes as you wish, and notice that really it's the same awareness. Nothing's really changing. So you training your mind to be aware of this one awareness, the singular awareness. Loving awareness, which is your source, so your Father, and you are its extension, the Son. It merges, Father and Son, source and awareness merge in your awareness as one when you are rooted in this awareness. And so it is. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and the first part of the session. Workbook lesson is done. So we'll move on to some text. Okay, so let's have a look at today's text reading, which is section 9 of chapter 29, called the forgiving dream. Okay, so if you want to read that, Elaine, in the it's not much to translate there. The Holy Son of God will become the extension of perfect love, the innocent extension of perfect love. So read it in the alternative.
The slave of idols is a willing slave. For willing I must be to let myself bow down in worship to what has no life and seek for power in the powerless. What happened to the innocent extension of perfect love, that this could be my wish, to let myself fall lower than the stones upon the ground and look to idols that they raise me up. Hear then my story in the dream I made, and ask myself if it be not the truth that I believe that it is not a dream.
Okay, so a bit of translation. I think actually I'm going to ask you to read the original first and the alternative, because it gives me more time just to do some editing. So what happens to the extension of it? Perfect love? This could be my wish.
So I read the original now?
No, it's okay. Just the next paragraph. To let myself lower than stones upon the ground.
What happened to the innocent extension of perfect love, that this could be my wish, to let myself fall lower than the stones upon the ground and look to false beliefs that they raise me up. Hear then my story in the dream I made, and ask myself if it be not the truth that I believe that it is not a dream.
So I'll change that to say to ask false beliefs to raise me up. Hear then my story and dream I made, and ask myself. The originals, hear then your story and the dream you made. Ask yourself if it be not the truth that you believe that it is not a dream. So you're saying You actually believe it's real, believe it's not a dream. So here then my story. We were just talking about the story, the old photos and things, nostalgia and history is his story, isn't it? His story. History is the story of individuals, and then individuals mix, and there's some kind of co-created reality, which if individuals are all insane, then the co-created reality is going to be insane too. Really, the history of humanity is a history of insanity, largely, with occasional bright spots to kind of lighten it a bit, like the coming of the masters like Yeshua and the Buddha. Love coming into the dream in any way lightens it. But the ego story is a story of death and disaster. Largely, if you study history, you see that. Why is history so chaotic and violent, and why are there so many wars and sickness and death? Because that's the ego's game. That's what it does.
Keeping it going, yeah.
So hear my story and the dream I made, and ask myself, if it be not the truth that I believe in, it's not a dream. It's quite convoluted there. Ask myself, if I ask myself if I really believe that it is not a dream. It's an interesting one. So you ask someone, say, can I really say in my heart of hearts?
Wow.
Is this a dream or is it not a dream?
That's the golden question.
Am I in a dream right now? And for most people, it's still very real. Even if they're familiar with the concept of a dream or an illusion. I ask myself if I really believe that it is just a dream. Okay, so read that. If you can read that from the top, right, and the alternatives, just check it.
The slave of idols is a willing slave, for I must be willing to let myself bow.
Just pause there. Let's change that. False belief. An idol is a false belief. Slave of false beliefs. That's what an idol is. So the slave of false beliefs is a willing slave. Yeah, and then carry on.
For I must be willing to let myself bow down in worship to what has no life and seek for power in the powerless. What happened to the...
Change this to value. So when I bow down and worship, what am I doing? Worship means I'm giving value to it. I'm giving it worth. So worship, that's where it comes from. I must be willing to let myself value what has no life and seek for power in the powerless. Yeah.
What happened to the innocent extension of perfect love? That this could be my wish to let myself fall lower than the stones on the ground and ask false beliefs to raise me up. I hear my story in the dream I made and ask myself if I really believe that it is just a dream.
Okay, so what's he saying in this one?
Well, we need to ask ourselves, do we believe that this is a dream or not? Do we really believe it? Otherwise, we're going to fall to the stones, to the idle wishes of the idols, and we'll be its willing slave. So we'll use that to pull us back up. And we're just going to be going round and round in the dream.
So how can this have happened? I must have let myself value what is no life. And seek for power in the powerless. I'm saying, do you really believe it's a dream, or do you still think it's real? So there's a nice lead into the rest of the paragraph, which is about dreams of judgment.
A dream of judgment came into them.
Read it in the original and then the alternative. It just gives me time to edit it.
How many paragraphs are there? Because to be dropping, I'm getting a really sore throat. Don't know where this has come from. So I hope my throat still can continue.
Where do you think it's coming from, Elaine?
It's coming from my chest.
No, coming from your ego. That's where it's coming from.
Oh, it is. My Holy Spirit's not trying. It's not going to give up, but my throat's getting weaker and weaker. So sorry about this. Still in the apple there. So
well, maybe John will jump in and come to the rescue.
Is it band day though? I think it's band day. Mondays is band day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think he might come at 9, but
that's a pity.
Probably almost done by then. Anyway, let's see how we go. See how you go.
Yeah. How many is there? How many paragraphs are there?
10.
Oh. Can we take turns?
You want me to read as well?
Please, yeah, because the throat's really, croaky.
Okay, so dream of judgment came into the mind that God created perfect as himself. Dream of judgment came into the mind that the source created perfect as itself. We'll make that my source created perfect as itself. And then that dream was the state of pure formless awareness. Heaven changed to hell. God made enemy unto his son. State of pure formless awareness changed to hell as victimhood. Victimhood and suffering, and pure formless awareness of perfect love made enemy unto his son. Pure formless awareness of perfect love made an enemy to its own extension. Just bizarre. How can the source of something be an enemy of that which it is the source of, or that which it extends? That's crazy. That's what he's saying. That's the dream. State of pure formless awareness is now changed to victimhood and suffering, and pure formless awareness of perfect love made an enemy to its own extension. How can the extension of perfect love, Son of God. How can God's Son awaken from the dream? How can the extension of perfect love awaken from the dream? It's a dream of judgment. So must I judge not, and I will awaken. I will state that differently, therefore. Therefore, I must not judge, and I will awaken. And so when he talks about judgment here, he's talking about the ego's judgments of the world as real. And there's always a negative, negative element to that.
Yeah.
Because you've made it real, and then it has the power to hurt you. And very often it does. As soon as you judge it as real, then the thoughts that you think about it are real, the emotions you feel are real, and you have a so-called real experience based on what is unreal. So how can the extension of perfect love awaken from the dream? How can the Son of God awaken from the dream? There's a dream of judgment, therefore I must not judge, and I will awaken. For the dream will seem to last while I am part of it. It's judge not, for I who judges, he who judges, for I who judge. So state this as an intention. I will not judge. For I who judge. Will have need of, will need idols. You remember what idols are, right? What's the translation? Remember? Yeah, false beliefs. How you judge will false beliefs, will hold the judgment. Will hold the judgment off, and will seemingly stop the judgment. From resting on myself. Being of myself. Nor can you know the self is condemned, nor can I know the self I've condemned. And so I don't know this true self, capital self, Christ self. And the true self I've condemned. Judge not, so I will not judge. I will not judge in this way. I make myself a part of evil dreams. And when I do, or make myself part of evil dreams. The idols are my, quote, true identity. And I'm awakening from judgment laid in terror and guilt upon myself. Your salvation from the judgment laid in terror and in guilt upon yourself. So I then falsely identify myself as a false identity, and my salvation awakening from the judgment I'm not judging, because what I do, I make myself a part of evil dreams. I was on my true identity. And my awakening from the judgment laid in terror and in guilt upon myself. So he's already saying I'm scared of awakening. And I am terrified. And interesting, there's the guilt as well. And I'm terrified of and feel guilty for awakening. I'm guilty for awakening from the judgment laid in terror and guilt upon myself. Terrified of and feel guilty for. Okay, do you want to read that from the top, Elaine? A dream of judgment came into the mind.
The dream of judgment came into that mind that my source created perfect as itself. And in that dream was the state of pure formless awareness, changed to victimhood and suffering, and pure formless awareness of perfect love, made an enemy to its own extension. How can the extension of perfect love awaken from the dream? It is a dream of judgment. Therefore, I must not judge, and I will awaken. For the dream will seem to last while I am part of it. I will not judge, for I who judge will need false beliefs that will seemingly stop the judgment from being of myself. Nor can I know the true self I have condemned. I will not judge in this way, because when I do, I make myself part of evil dreams where idols are my true identity, and I am terrified of and feel guilty for awakening from the judgment.
Oh. So what's he saying in this one?
Well, it's all just a dream of judgment, making us suffer and not love our extensions. So therefore, I must not judge if I want to awaken from the dream.
Yeah, and he talks about, judgment in the condemnatory sense. We've had this discussion before, but we must be able to discern the difference between truth and illusion, and the ego and the Holy Spirit. So that's the Holy Spirit's right-minded judgment. But the ego's judgment is condemnatory in nature.
Mm.
He says, nor can I know the true self I have condemned, because that's what's really going on. So, we must let go of condemnatory judgment. And the only judgment of the Holy Spirit of anyone or anything is that this is not real. You see, that's the only judgment. This is unreal. Therefore, why am I getting upset, reacting? Why am I condemning what is not real? It must be delusional if I'm doing that. You're clear on the differences, because some people get very confused with judgment. And they go, well, how can you not judge? Because if you've got to make a decision, you have to judge between two alternatives, don't you?
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's different.
if you're buying,
Spirit, that's right-minded judgment, because the right-minded judgment says, well, this is true and this is not.
yeah,
It distinguishes between truth and falsehood. Chooses the truth, lets go of the falsehood. And simply, doesn't condemn anyone for the falsehood. Whatever's happened, seemingly happened because of the falsehood. There's no condemnation. It's just, well, that's false. So I see it for what it is. It's false. And I move on into the
especially
light.
when we're going shopping, we're choosing items, food items. When we're doing our DIY, we're always choosing and judging which item to have.
Yeah, it's inevitable. You have to preference. When you choose something, you have to not choose something else. You can't have it all.
Mm.
But that's not the kind of judgment he's talking about.
No.
Yeah, he's talking about the condemnatory judgment. When you look on someone and you go, you have sinned, my brother, you've done this deed, normally to me, you have hurt me, and I will not forgive you.
Mm.
And it was interesting, when I was watching that Beckham program on Netflix, someone actually said, they were interviewing people about it. It's bizarre. I mean, just like someone said, that is unforgivable.
Mm.
Wow. So he's done really a minor error. He's just done a little kick on a football field.
Oh, you mean David Beckham? Yeah.
And that's unforgivable. He can never be forgiven for that. I mean, it's just bizarre that anyone could say that. But that's the ego's. That's the ego's nature. No, cannot forgive. You are forever condemned for your mistake, and now your mistake becomes a sin. And punishment.
Totally.
Punishment then is the answer. You'll be punished for your sin. It is completely insane.
It
and
is.
Yet, this is the dominant thought system of the world, as was demonstrated by David Beckham's experience when he was condemned. People weren't just saying, okay, well, you made a mistake, and all right, don't do it again. It's all right. No, we'll never forgive you. You're now, your life is ruined because you did one silly thing. It's just, I mean, what a bizarre thought system. Unforgivable. Like, all right, so now you're never going to forgive, one silly error, and that's the ego making that mistake into a sin, so that it can be permanent and real, and all of that anger and resentment and hatred that it loves can be justified. You see, because if it's unforgivable, then yes, my resentments and my anger and my hatred are justified, and I can't let those go. It's so clear, isn't it? You can that's the judgment Yeshua's talking about here. Not the judgment that says, oh, well, actually, that never happened. So let it go because that never happened, and just stay in your true awareness. That judgment, right-minded judgment of the Holy Spirit, just sees that the whole drama is false. It's not real. So it can be let go of. Okay, is that clear between difference between condemnatory judgment and right-minded judgment of the Holy Spirit?
Oh yeah, that's very clear.
Ultimately, we're going to get out of all judgment. Even the right-minded judgments of the Holy Spirit will fade away once you go into pure formless awareness of perfect love, and you leave this world and the body behind. There's no judgment at all, because you don't need to choose anything. There are no alternatives left, because you've chosen, the one, and you remain rooted in that one reality. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to number 3 then. You can read that one. Any original and alternative, and I'll just edit as you read the original.
All figures in the dreams are idols, made to save you from the dream, yet they are part of what they have been made to save you from. Thus,
Okay, you're not reading in the original. Just gives me more.
The alternative. Oh, right.
And the original and then the alternative, yeah.
Sorry, line by line. Sorry, I'm not with it.
Yeah.
I'm dropping like
so
a
read
frog.
that, and then that just gives you a chance to edit the alternative, which then you can.
All figures in the dream are idols, made to save you from the dream.
Yeah, and then read the alternative.
All figures in the dream are false, made to save me from the dream.
Yeah, and yet they are part.
Yeah. Yet they are part of what they have been made to save you from. Yet they are part of what they have been made to save me from.
Yeah. So the figures are there apparently to save you, but they're not, because they're very much a part of the false world. The figures in the dream are just as much a part of the dream as anything else. The objects, background, it's all a dreamscape. Figures just seem to be very real. They walk around and they speak and act and do things. And, those characters seem to be very real to you until you start letting them go and realizing what they are. Okay, so number 3, thus does an idol.
Thus does an idol keep the dream alive and terrible. For who would wish for one unless he were in terror and despair? And so, an idol keep the dream alive and terrible. For who could wish for one unless I were in terror and despair?
So false belief keeps dream alive and terrible. Who could wish for one unless I were in terror and despair? Who could wish for false idol? False belief. Don't say for could I wish for one unless I were in terror and despair? Okay, number 4. And this the idol represents.
In the original, yeah? Or just the
Yeah,
alternate?
it just gives me time to edit the
Mhm.
the alternative if you
And
read
this
it.
the idol represents. And so its worship is the worship of despair and terror and the dream from which they came. And this idol represents, and so valuing, it is the worship of despair and terror from which they come. Judgment is an injustice to God's Son, and it is justice that who judges him will not escape the penalty he laid upon himself within the dream he made. Judgment is an injustice to the extension of perfect love, and it is justice that I who judges will not escape the penalty I laid upon myself within the dream I made. But in the dream of judgment, you attack and are
Just pause
condemned.
there. Sorry, I'm just
Mhm.
there's justice. Judgment and justice, extension of perfect love. And it is justice that I who do not judge will not escape penalty I laid upon myself within the dream I made. Just saying, it is justice that who judges him will not escape. He judges him, the other God's Son, extension of love, judges him will not escape the penalty he laid upon himself in the dream he made. Okay, so it is justice. Interesting. It says it's justice. Judgment is injustice, the extension of perfect love. It is justice that I who judges him is interesting. So it is justice that who judges him, Son of God, will not escape. It's justice that he will not escape the penalty he laid upon himself in the dream he made. God knows of justice, not of penalty. So he's saying it's justice that if you condemn someone, then you're condemned. Okay, so let's frame that. Justice, extension of perfect love is justice that I judges him will not escape. I who judge anyone will not escape the penalty laid upon or imposed. Laid upon, also imposed on myself within the dream I made. Source knows of justice, not of penalty. Should we carry on? Source knows of justice, not of penalty.
Source knows of justice, not of penalty. But in the dream of judgment, I attack and am condemned, and I wish to be the slave of idols, which are intersposed between my judgment and the penalty it brings.
Be a slave of false beliefs. Not interpose between my judgment and the penalty it brings. Okay, so what's he saying? Just read it from the top if you don't mind. Make sure we're good with the whole translation. And then any summary of it.
All figures in the dream are false, made to save me from the dream, yet they are part of what they have been made to save me from. And so a false belief keeps the dream alive and terrible. For could I wish for one unless I were in terror and despair? And this the idol represents, and so valuing it is the worship of despair and terror, and the dream from which they come. Judgment is an injustice to the extension of perfect love, and it is justice that I, who judge anyone, will not escape the penalty. I impose on myself within the dream I made. My source knows of justice, not of penalty, but in the dreams of judgment I attack and I am condemned. And I wish to be the slave of false beliefs which are interposed between my judgment and the penalty it brings.
Okay, so what's he saying?
Well, it's just the judgment. You're condemning yourself every time you judge and you're condemning yourself.
Why does he say, it is justice that I who judge anyone will not escape the penalty I imposed upon myself within the dream I made? Why is he saying that?
Oops, I can't see. Oh.
Can I help you?
Yeah, could you please?
Because that's the way the mind works for our own protection. Right? If I judge anyone, because of the nature of mind extends or projects. So I judge anyone, then by the nature of mind, which operates according to the laws of truth or God, I will not escape the penalty I imposed on myself within the dream I made. Because if I could do that, then I would be stuck forever in this world. Then the ego strategy of guilt would work. I can really judge someone and get off myself, and I could be happy by judging someone else. So it's for our own protection. Like if we judge anyone, then yes, we cannot escape the penalty I imposed on myself, because in the moment of judging, of condemning, you're feeling guilty and sinful and angry, and all those toxic, dark emotions are coming up. So it's actually the justice of our source is that you can't do that. I mean, if you're out of alignment with your source, you're judging others. There's no escape from the penalty you impose upon yourself, because that penalty and the suffering you'll experience is exactly what will wake you up. Because this doesn't feel good, and you realize that I've actually been doing it to myself. And that's why it's part of the law, the law of mind that protects us. That's why he says that my source knows of justice and not of penalty. So there's no penalty, it's just karmic law. If you do certain things and you condemn and you judge, then that will have an effect. And that effect is there to wake you up. So hence, God's justice will always try and awaken you. Okay. And then he goes on to say, but in the dream of judgment, I attack and am condemned and wish to be the slave of false beliefs, which are interposed between my judgment and the penalty it brings. So in these false beliefs, I don't see clearly that when I judge, I'm judging myself. That's what he's saying, isn't it? So I think that, yes, I could attack someone else. I can judge and condemn and attack someone else. And that, like, I won't suffer. It's only the other person will suffer because they're the one who's guilty. That's a false belief or a false idol. But actually, the moment I do that, that's the moment I start paying the penalty, because my own state of mind is no longer clear and pristine. I'm no longer in pure formless awareness. I've departed from it. Okay, so does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to have to drop off. I'm getting a headache now and can't concentrate. So I do apologize, but I'm going to have to drop off now. Okay, so
All right.
I'll hopefully better tomorrow. So.
All right. So tomorrow we could do an afternoon session or an evening one. I don't mind.
I'm not sure at the minute. Yeah, could do. Yeah, the afternoon. But yeah, I've got a real headache now, and I just can't concentrate.
Why don't you just read the summary? Because I've done a summary.
To be honest, can you? And I need to go because my head is thumping. I do my best to try and hang on, but I just feel yuck. Okay. I mean, you could do the summary.
Yeah, well, I'll carry on, I think. Doesn't look like John's going to join, so I'll
sorry about that, but it's not going in, and it's just I'm getting a headache, so sorry. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so tomorrow evening?
I don't know how can we play it by ear tomorrow, or how's everybody else doing? John, what does he prefer?
I need to put it out on the group, so.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind.
Okay.
Just go with the flow.
Should we do a 12:30 then? I'd like to do one during the day at least.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Right. Good night.
Right,
good night. Bye. Bye.
Okay. Night, Elaine. I feel better. All right. So there can be no awakening in the dream. Let's carry on in paragraph 4. There can be no awakening in the dream as I am dreaming it. For idols must be part of it. Or false beliefs must be part of it. Save me from what I believe I've accomplished. And have done to make me sinful, and put out the light, the pure formless awarenesses or translation of light within me. But pure formless awareness is there. We do but dreams. I'm only dreaming. And false beliefs are the toys I dream I play with. How about, because he's referring to some material things, so and the projections of false beliefs are the false toys, or the toys I dream I play with. Who has need of toys except children? They pretend they rule the world and give their toys the power to move about. talk. Think, feel, and speak for them. And everything their toys appear to do is in the minds of those who play with them. But they are eager to forget that they made up the dream. Which their toys are real. Nor recognize their wishes of their own. Nor recognize their wishes of their own. It's saying here, well, we're just playing with dreams. And those dreams are fantasies. We pretend we rule the world. Give the toys the power to move about, talk, think, feel, and speak for them. And it's saying we just play acting in this world. All the world's a stage. So Shakespeare said all the men and women many players, and they have their entrances and their exits, and one man in his time may play many parts. The 5 nightmares of childish dreams. Toys have turned against the child. We thought it made them real. It can a dream attack? Can a toy grow large and dangerous? Can a toy grow large, dangerous? Yes, and wild. This does the child believe because he fears his thoughts, gives them to the toys instead. Gives them, I think what he means is projects them, takes them onto the toys instead. And the reality becomes my own because they seem to keep my thoughts alive and real. They keep my thoughts alive and real, but perceived outside myself, and they can turn against me for my treachery to them. I think I need them, so I may escape my thoughts because I think the thoughts are real. And so I make of anything a toy to make my world remain outside myself. So I make of anything a toy to make my world remain outside myself. And play that I'm only a part of it. So it's just a play. All the world's a stage. All the men and women merely players. With the entrances and exits, and one man in his time may play many parts. I'm making up the illusions. I'm making up toys. I'm projecting my fears and my guilt onto the toys. And all of this makes my world remain real outside me. I'm playing a game that I'm now trapped in this world that I've created myself. Trapped by my toys. Hang on, they're just my beliefs. What I'm valuing, what I'm believing, it's trapping me. Okay, so saying it's a nightmare, childish dreams, and we project all of our fears and guilt onto the dream, which makes it real to us. Moving swiftly on to number 6. There's a time when childhood should be past and gone forever. There's a time when childhood should be past and gone forever. Seek not to retain the toys of children, so do not try to retain the toys of children. Or come all the way, for I have need. I do not need them. Need more. Being of judgment is a children's game, which child becomes the source, powerful only with the little wisdom of the child. As the source and powerful. Only with the little wisdom of the child. Where hurts me is destroyed, where helps me blessed. Except I judge this as does a child. Except I judge this as does a child. I judge this as a child judges. As does a child. I judge as a child who does not know what hurts and what will heal. Bad things seem to happen. I'm afraid of all the chaos in the world. I think it's governed by the laws I made. There's the real world unaffected. It is the real world unaffected by the world I think is real. Nor have its laws been changed because I do not understand. So he's saying here, I'm like a little child, I'm dreaming a dream, judging the world, projecting my judgments onto everyone and everything, making the world real. But actually the real world, that is the real world beyond this one, really unaffected by the world I think is real and everything I do in it, nor have its laws been changed because I do not understand. Yeah, let's move on to number 7. Real world still is only a dream. Real world is still only a dream. Except the figures have been changed. They are not seen as idols which betray. Seen as false beliefs which betray. In which no one is used to substitute for something else, nor interpose between the thoughts the mind conceives and what it perceives. So none of the ego's defenses are there. The real world, remember, is the world reinterpreted by the Holy Spirit. No one is used for something. I am not for childish things. Have all been put away. Let go of doing such childish things. Let go of doing such childish things. What was once a dream of judgment now is changed into a dream where all is joy. Because that is the purpose that it has. Only themes of letting go can enter here, for time is almost over. And the forms that enter in the dream are now perceived as companions, not in judgment, but only in love. So let me read that from the top. So the real world is still only a dream, except the figures have been changed. They're not seen as false beliefs which betray. The real world is still only a dream, except the figures have been changed. What do you perceive? They're not seen as idols. They do not perceive them as false beliefs which betray. A dream which no one is used to substitute for something else, nor interpose between the thoughts the mind conceives and what it perceives. A dream which no one is used to substitute for something else, nor interpose between the thoughts the mind conceives and what it perceives. No one is used for something I am not. I've let go of doing such childish things. Used for something they are not. I've let go of doing such childish things. And what was once a dream of judgment is now changed into a dream where all is joy, because that is the purpose that it has. Only dreams of letting go can enter here, for time is almost over. Forms that enter in the dream are now perceived as companions, not in judgment, but only in love. So all these illusions, the figures in the dream, none of this will matter. I'm not using people for my own false purposes. I'm just seeing the truth as it really is. So forgiving dreams have little need to last. And really start forgiving. There's no point to the dream. We realize that. So we go. Means of letting go. Have no need to last. We are not made to separate the mind from what it thinks. We do not seek to prove the dream has been dreamed by someone else. In these dreams, the melody is heard that everyone remembers. And these dreams and melody is heard that everyone remembers. No. I've not heard it since before. Time began. So this is the ancient memory of the timeless state preceded the idea of separation and the Big Bang. I've not heard it since before time began. It's a long, long time ago. Cosmologists are to believe that's 14 billion years. Letting go once complete brings timelessness so close. Letting go once complete brings timelessness so close. The song of heaven, the song of pure formless awareness, can be heard, not with the ears, but with the innocence that never left the foundation, that lives forever deep within the extension. The innocence that never left the foundation, lives forever deep within the extension of perfect love. And when I hear this song again, I know I never heard it. Not, so I know it's never been time. When I hear this song again, I know there's never been a time when I never heard it. It's always been there forever because it's the memory of our eternal state. And whereas time, when dreams of judgment have been put away, dreams of judgment have been let go. Dreams of letting go have no need to last. They're not made to separate the mind from what it thinks. Do not seek to prove the dream is being dreamed by someone else. In these dreams, the melody is heard, and everyone remembers, though they have not heard it since before time began. Letting go once complete brings timelessness, brings brings eternity so close. Song of pure formless awareness can be heard, not with the ears, but with the incense. Letting go once complete brings eternity so close. The song of pure formless awareness can be heard, not with the ears, The innocence that never left the foundation lives forever deep within the extension of perfect love. And when I hear this song again, I know, oh no, there's never been a time. I know there's never been a time that I never heard it. Whereas time when dreams of judgment you let go. So Shades of the Forgotten Song, which was an earlier sections, song's melody of pure formless, what is the perfect love, state of being we haven't known since the idea of separation and the time-space illusion began, is still there, and just takes us beyond that, beyond time, back into the state of the timeless. So moving on to number 9. Whenever I feel fear in any form, and I feel fear in any form, and I'm fearful if I do not feel a deep content, certainty of help, certainty of being held to calm assurance, state of pure formless awareness goes with me. I'm sure I made an idol and believe it will betray me. Beneath my hope, it will save me by the guilt and pain of self-betrayal and uncertainty so deep and bitter. The dream cannot conceal completely all my sense of doom. My self-betrayal must result in fear, for fear is judgment. Self-betrayal must result in fear, for fear is judgment, leading surely to the frantic search for idols, for false beliefs and death. So he's saying, I'll read it again. Whenever I feel fear in any form, and I'm fearful, I do not feel a deep content, a certainty of being helped, a calm assurance, the state of pure formless awareness goes with me. I'm sure I made an idol and believe it will betray me. But beneath my hope, it will save me lie the guilt and pain of self-betrayal and uncertainty, so deep and bitter that the dream cannot conceal completely all my sense of doom. My self-betrayal must result in fear, for fear is judgment, leading surely to the frantic search for false beliefs and death. Idol is a false image for false images and death. So he's saying here that can't conceal the fear of these illusions, and that so forgiving dreams remind you that you live in safety and have not attacked yourself. letting go, dreams of letting go. Remind me that I live in safety and have not attacked myself. So do my childish terrors melt away, and dreams become a sign that I've made a new beginning, not another try to worship idols and to keep attack. Dreams of letting go are kind to every companion who figures in the dream. And so they bring me full release from dreams of fear. I do not fear my judgment, for I judge no one, for I've sought to be released through judgment from what judgment must impose. And all the while I'm remembering what I forgot when judgment seemed to be the way to save me from its penalty. What's he saying here? Dreams of letting go. It's a forgiving dream or dream of letting go. Remind me that I live in safety. I do not attack myself. Dreams of letting go are kind to every companion who figures in the dream, and so they bring me full release from dreams of fear. Right, so I don't hold any grudges, I don't see any illusions, do not fear my judgment, for I judge no one, nor have sought to be released through judgment from what judgment must impose. And all the while I'm remembering what I forgot when judgment seemed to be the way to save me from its penalty. So let's do the summary quickly. I willingly submit to idols. Willingly submit to false beliefs. And deny the intrinsic value of pure formless awareness. And perfect love. I question how I came to this point where I could bow to such lifeless things. And value such lifeless things, distancing myself. Separate myself from the truth. The nightmarish dream of judgment has transformed the state of pure formless awareness into an enemy of its extension. To awaken from this dream, I must refrain from judgment. If I judge, I become ensnared by the illusions of the dream and separated from my true self. I must not judge in the condemnatory sense. I have to judge between truth and illusion. So Holy Spirit's judgment in the egoic sense makes the illusions real, judges someone as guilty. Someone has really done something or failed to do something, so they are guilty and they deserve to be punished. It's the difference between to awaken from this dream. I must refrain from judgment. If I judge, I become ensnared by the illusions of the dream, separated from my true self. So stop judging in the egoic sense and condemning others. All characters in this dream are mere idols, perpetuating the dream's terror. Well, the projections of false beliefs. Okay, so people just represent my own false beliefs. I projected them out, and then they seem to show up in my dream world as reality in the form of these people. The worship of these idols is rooted in fear. Valuing of false beliefs is rooted in fear and despair. Judgment brings injustice upon the extension of perfect love. In this dream, I face the consequences of my judgment, seeking comfort. And false beliefs. Seek to mitigate consequences. This dream, I face the consequence of my judgment, but seek to mitigate these consequences. Through false beliefs and projections. In this dream, I believe I cannot awaken. There's faith in my false beliefs, trying to protect my perceived sins and neglecting pure formless awareness within. Final is a false belief and projection. And protect my perceived sins and neglecting the pure formless awareness in my mind. These false beliefs and projections are mere toys products of my imagination, taking on the attributes I've assigned to them. Yet they're only reflections of my own thoughts and fears. Their projection, projections, their reflections. They're merely projections of my own thoughts and fears. Nightmares are just childish dreams. Which I have projected my fears onto the toys I've created. In reality, these toys keeps my fearful thoughts alive. Dream of judgment is immature. My perspective harms or helps me is distorted. True world remains unchanged. The real world remains unchanged, irrespective. Despite my misunderstandings. In the real world, the dream remains, but its characters no longer deceive or betray. Judgment is replaced with joy, as all figures are perceived with unconditional love. Dreams of letting go of a fleeting nature. But they connect me with the eternal song of pure formless awareness, bringing forth innocence and love. And forth, they lead to unconditional innocence and love. Fear arises, indicates I've given power to an idol, leading to feelings of doom and a relentless search. Power to any false belief, leading to feelings of doom and a relentless search for more. Projections. Conversely, dreams of letting go assure me of my safety, liberating me from fear and reminding me of the moment when judgment clouded my perception. So we're free to let go of all these false idols, false beliefs and projections, and clear our minds to perceive the truth again when we perceive, but we see the underlying pure formless most perfect love, we are then in the real world. Okay, and so just the key message, I often lose myself in illusions of judgment and idol worship and valuing false beliefs. Which separates me from pure formless awareness of perfect love. However, by refraining from judgment, condemnatory judgment, embracing dreams and letting go, I reconnect. Reconnect with my true self. Experience joy and unconditional love, untouched by the deceptions of the dream world. So it's really saying just let go of the judgment, judging false. Judgment is about valuing false beliefs, which are my own projections. That separates me from pure formless awareness of perfect love. But when I let that go, I reconnect with my true self and experience joy and unconditional love, untouched by the deceptions of the dream world. So on that note, yeah, thanks. I think that's it's a wrap for today. So thanks to Elaine for joining, and if you watched, hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to the channel for more like this. Join us in one of our masterclasses soon. There's a link down below, and you can get the material that I sent that we talked about earlier in the session on Telegram, sent to you every day. So hope to catch you on the inside soon, and namaste, which means the non-judgmental self in me acknowledges and honors that same non-judgmental self in you. Peace.